Welcome everybody to a solo flight down to the Nobbies. This is a flight we usually do, Tony and I, but he was busy, so I decided to do it on my own. Did the usual clockwise route down towards Gokunda Way, across to Phillip Island and back across French Island, back up to the airfield. But that fuzzy line that's about to appear on the map was almost solid cloud with a few holes, but it proved challenging.
Hi, first flight with the new screen. See how it performs. You can see how the motor performs too. So harness is done up, helmet's done up. Just make sure no one's coming in on there. Make a call. Kiwi up, traffic Microlight 6965, back tracking on 09. Kiwi up.
Traffic, Microlight 6888 is overhead the aerodrome at 1,300 kilograms.
Kiwi up, traffic Microlight 6965, departing 09 and heading south. Kiwi up.
We'd been having a few issues with the carby tuning on these motors. From the factory they come way too rich. So we'd been leaning the high jet just out a little bit and trying to match the changeover from low to high jet, avoiding what we call hunting, where the motor seemed to rev up and down as it was changing from one jet to the other. But this trip, I think we'd got it sorted. The motor ran very, very nicely. And here I am now heading down the coast towards Stockyard Point. That's French Island on the right there. And you can see that bank of cloud starting to appear in front of me. And here I am beginning to climb over the top of it. And the beginning of my cloud top adventure.
Alright, we're approaching 3,000 feet now. Getting well above the cloud tops. What an incredible feeling. Above the clouds, 3,100 feet. Looking down on the clouds. Airspeed 80. Engine rev 5.3. Ground speed 70.
I find it quite wonderful flying above clouds, and for me it's a surreal feeling. And in this case there's still quite a few gaps or holes in the cloud where I can get down if I need to.
Oh, I can see the halo on the cloud down there.
Yeah, that halo down there is also called a pilot's glory, and it's caused by the sunlight being diffracted off minute droplets and breaking it up into its spectral colours. It certainly is a delight to see. And you'll spot it a few times more in the video. I am now climbing above the cloud bank proper, as you can see, quite clearly defined, disappearing into the distance.
That's just superb. Now I need to make a bit of a choice here, because that's definitely quite thick there, but it looks like just over there it might dip down, but my options for getting down to the cloud are getting less and less there. So I'm thinking that I'm going to, well, just see if there's a few more holes opening up. What's the time? 11:30. It hasn't burned off yet, so those holes are starting to get few and far between. to make a call very soon. Going to see it's like a ridge running through the big hole coming up.
After flying over cloud for some 15 kilometres, this was the first major break that I'd come across, and unfortunately it was right on the coast, so I was able to circle down through it, and there's the pilot glory again, and circle down through it and then continue westward towards Phillip Island. So here I am now, just slowly coming down through it, getting underneath the cloud, and taking great delight in watching the coastline unfold east and west.
There's the San Remo.
The clouds I'm spiralling down through are indicative of stratocumulus clouds, which are formed by weak convective or currents or warm rising air, and they're usually capped by an inversion layer above them, which is certainly what these clouds look like. So here I am heading over San Remo, out across the bay and onto Phillip Island. And that's Cape Woolamai around there to the left, to the south, and straight ahead is the Nobbies. I've crossed over this 2.5 kilometre stretch of water at about 1,200 feet to keep a reasonable separation between myself and cloud base, which was about 1,700, 1,800. I still had landing on the beach if I had to.
Passing over the airfield back there. And it's a little bit rowdy down here.
That little bit of rowdiness is caused by warm air rising and cool air sinking between the surface and the cloud. It wasn't really much to talk about, but it was noticeable compared to the smooth conditions I'd had at 3,500 feet above the cloud. I've got my eyes peeled here at the moment because I'm flying over a heliport which takes tourists for joy flights around the island, and sure enough there was one just out there. Give them a wave, let them know I'm here.
So I'm going to stay away, I'm going to actually start climbing a little bit, I think.
To be fair, the helicopters generally fly offshore to give people the best view back along the coast, but it still pays to keep your eyes open. You can just see my shadow at the bottom of the screen there, and it shows you just how fast we're covering ground. I'm having a little bit of a squeeze at the surface off Smith Beach now, and then I'm going to be heading out towards Pyramid Rock, which has a little bit of a story behind it. Many moons ago, when Marion and the two girls aged about 8 to 10 or something like that, I can't remember now. Oh, there's the racetrack, and there's Pyramid Rock straight out the front. We went down there, and it was a time when you could actually walk out right out of the rocks, and I decided that I'd climb the end of the cliff. Well, I did that all right, but I got to almost to the top, and it was all loose and shaly, and I couldn't actually get back down. So Marion had to run all the way back to the car park to get a rope, to come all the way back down again and try and throw it down to me against a howling gale. Eventually she got the rope down to me, and I was able to help me get up over the shale. But I wasn't in the good books, but I did redeem myself by running out of fuel on the way back to the camp. That bowl down there is Hutchinson's Bay, and we accessed that from Berry's Beach. I used to carry the old Wings Ranger across there and launch into the oncoming winds and ridge lift back and forth. It's good fun.
Oh, there's the Speke, the shipwreck.
What we're zooming in on is the remains of the Speke, which foundered on the coast in very heavy weather in 1906. Apparently there's a bit of a navigational problem. There's the Pyramid Rock in the background there in that photo, and there's another very nice shot of what the remains of the Speke just around from Kittymiller Bay. It was at the time the largest three-masted square-rigged ship on the seas, being a little over 300 feet long.
This is Kittymiller Bay we're flying over now. I've paddled the kayak from there out past the rocks.
And out to Seal Rocks, and then back into the main channel, and just to follow the incoming tide back up to Cowes. Very pleasant. And now we have the Nobbies dead ahead.
Okay, let's head back. I suspect that ground speed should increase quite considerably. Up to 5.9 just to get us up through it.
That increase in revs was to increase the climb rate to get over the upcoming cloud bank that you can see, the stratocumulus, which is still hanging around, but it's dissipating ever so slowly. At the same time, I didn't fancy going across 5 to 6 kilometres of water at it, and under 2,000 feet, so hence the climb. As we came up onto the township of Cowes, I'm getting to just over 3,000 feet and the top of the stratocumulus layer. The town will slowly disappear underneath me. I'll be back above the clouds again.
Quick check of the fuel before we go across. Right, I've got 10 litres. Gonna go down here a little bit before we head across to make sure that it's clear view of Phillip Island. Oh wow. Alright, let's head across the Tortoise Head. Oh, there's a boat pulling into the French Island jetty coming over from Coronel.
Now, the reason I've zoomed in on this aspect of Phillip Island is to point out the remnants of a little airfield down there, which I've just marked in red. And we were flying with Mark at the time in his tandem, and he landed here, and we thought, well, we can do the same thing. And here I am coming in, and it was fairly tight, to say the least. You can see Mark's much taller trikes parked over there. Tony was hot on my heels, and he had an interesting flight in because he hit quite a lot of turbulence beforehand and sink, which meant he was landing a lot earlier amongst the trees that were quite a bit taller. But he managed to scrape it in without catching a wingtip. Rather clever. Mind you, the takeoff was even more challenging because we had to start at the beginning of that rather rough little runway, but that's another story.
You're up traffic, Microlight, are you in the area?
Microlight 6965 is over Phillip Island at the moment, tracking northeast for airfield.
Okay, we're in, it's Jeff in the Jabiru. We're just parallel with the runway now. We're going to do a U-turn and come back.
I'll be about 15 minutes out at the moment. Thank you.
Yeah.
Back over the mainland, and without any stratocumulus to protect the land from the sun, the thermals are starting to kick off a bit more earnest. That's the airfield that I'm heading for. So I'll get up close, have a look at the windsock and decide which end is the best to land from. Well, the windsock shows a healthy southerly, so that's right across the airfield, which runs east-west. And I've decided to land on 27, which I'm coming into now on the base, and then I'll turn final. I'll have to keep the speed on to counteract that crosswind, and the thermals are also probably going to make things a bit interesting. So here I am coming in fairly quickly, probably close to 100 k's an hour, just to get it down close to the ground, get it into ground effect, which makes the glider a bit more stable. Still too high for that. And just, oh, there we go, there's a bit of a thermal. Okay, get it straightened up again. There's that crosswind on there, and ease out the bar, slow it down, and on the ground. And so ends another wonderful flight in these magnificent machines, which I feel so fortunate to be able to fly. Getting above clouds, flying around, seeing views from the sky which few people ever get to see. They are an absolute joy. And a big thanks must always go to Mark for allowing us to fly here out of his airfield. It's just fantastic.